Hey builders, real quick before we start the show, I want to tell you about something really cool that we are doing starting on October 22nd. It's called the October Reset, and it's a free 5-day training experience to help you get back on track and achieve your goals this year, even if you're already behind. Now, as we know, October is a really tough time. We don't talk about it a lot. We always talk about how hard it is in the spring, but October is tough for a different reason, because usually it's right around October that we start to realize that all those plans we made over the summer, well, we're not as far along as we thought we should be. Or we get into classrooms and we realize things are worse than we thought they were. And so I always say that October is when the dreams of summer begin to die. To avoid that, I want you to come to the October Reset. We're going to get together virtually each day for 1 hour at 7 p.m. Eastern, and we're just going to get reset. And I'm going to show you some very simple shifts you need to make. So it's not new work, but it's really about taking the work that you want to accomplish this year and making you more effective at it by doing some very simple shifts, shifting from a leadership perspective, which keeps you mired and feeling behind and always trying to catch up, to a buildership perspective, which helps you to take the work that you're doing and make it so much more effective and enjoy it a little bit more as well. So if you're feeling behind, if you're feeling overwhelmed already, if you're frustrated because things are not moving as quickly as you thought, then you might want to join me for the October Reset so that you can reset and get started on the work that you were planning to do this year and achieve the goals that you want to achieve this year. So all you need to do is go to buildershipuniversity.com/reset, buildershipuniversity.com/reset, and sign up. All right, now on to the show. You're listening to the School Leadership Reimagined podcast, episode 229. How do builders like us make a dramatic difference in the lives of our students in spite of all the obstacles we face? How do you keep your vision for your school from being held hostage by resistant teachers, uncooperative parents, ridiculous district policies, or a lack of time, money, or resources? If you're facing those challenges right now, here is where you'll find the answers, strategies, and actionable tips you need to overcome any obstacle you face. You don't have to wait to make a difference in the lives of the people you serve. You can turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Let's get started. Hey builders, welcome to another episode of the School Leadership Reimagined podcast. I'm your host, Robyn Jackson, and today we're going to talk about a trend that I'm seeing. I'm always talking about trends that I'm seeing, but this one bothers me a little bit because I'm not just seeing it with leaders. I also see it with builders, and it's a trap that at some point we all fall into because that's the way we were taught, and there's a lot of pressure around it. And the trap is this. We go for the quick win. Now think about it. Even when we're working with staff, we're always like, hey, let's get the quick win. And so we start doing little funky things with our data. Like we start going through our data and we look for the bubble kids. And by the way, can we retire the term bubble kids? Can we just stop using that term? Anyway, I'll go on a rant on that another day. But, we look for the bubble kids. We go through our data. We try to find the kids who are right on the edge, and we try to move those kids. And that way we can get our numbers up. But do you hear how that sounds when we're talking about children and we're talking about their learning? Do you hear how antithetical chasing that quick win is to our vision of 100% of our kids being successful? It doesn't make any sense. And yet, for some reason, it's a habit that all of us have a hard time shaking. So today I want to talk about why we are struggling with that, the trap, and how doing that traps us in work that actually prevents us from achieving our 100% vision. And then how builders do it differently. So let's dive right in, shall we? So let's start out by the notion of a quick win. Usually when I'm talking about a quick win, I'm talking about something, some maneuver that you think you can do to alleviate some of the pressure that you're feeling around student success. So as I mentioned, it could be taking a look at your data and trying to find bubble kids who are on the cusp of moving from one level to the next, and then doing some kind of quick strategy, some, 8-week program that helps those kids raise their test scores by just a few points. So they're just on the other side of the line. And then you can say, hey, we have created improvement. Here's the problem with that. When you do that sort of thing, here's what happens. You move kids just on the other side of the line and you pray that they will stay on the other side of that line long enough for you to give whatever test you are required to give, and then you can show improvement. And usually what happens is after you stop that 8-week program, after you stop focusing on those kids, they slide back down. So not only does that quick win provide at best a temporary boost, you're setting kids up for failure because you're giving them that quick shot in the arm to get them on the other side of the line. And it's not about investing in their sustained success. It's about moving numbers so that you can get rid of the pressures that you're facing around growth and improvement. So we're not even thinking about the kids. Because you know what? If we were thinking about the kids, we wouldn't be doing some quick shot in the arm to try to move them a couple of percentage points up. We'd be really focused on helping them read. We'd be really focused on helping them understand math so that we can set them up for success in life. And it's hard to focus on the welfare of the children when we are trying to create a quick win that is only designed to move students a little bit over the line. How can you have 100% vision and then have teachers get together to focus on just the bubble kids? All right. Here's another example of a quick win. Let's say that you have a culture issue in your school. So you spend a couple of weeks really dealing with that. Maybe the culture issue is that, kids are being mean to each other and they're bullying each other. And so you find or buy some sort of anti-bullying program and you launch that program and you get everybody excited and involved. And you do see a small lift in the number of disciplinary referrals around bullying. Kids are talking about it more, and then the program's over. And you don't do anything to sustain it. You're on to the next thing. You've got the quick win. Yay, bullying is not an issue. And you've started solving the problem, but you didn't finish it. And so now when the bullying comes back, kids have lost hope that you'll even do anything about it or that the things that you will do about it won't work. And so you end up breeding a sense of cynicism amongst your students. I've actually seen this happen. I was doing some focus groups with some students for one of our private clients a few months ago, and the students were telling me over and over again, they did this program, but, it started to work, but then it's not working anymore. And so they have lost hope that any program will ever address their very real issues around bullying. That's what happens when you do a quick win. You do a shot in the arm and then you move on and it kind of works. But the moment you move on, it doesn't work because it wasn't ever built for sustainability. And when you move on, you forget about the people who really needed that support. You've got your win, right? You can say, hey, we did something to address bullying. Look at us. But the kids who are being bullied every day, what about them? The kids who had hope for a moment that maybe this program would stop the torture that they're experiencing every day at the hands of their peers. And then you move on when the program's over, but it didn't solve the problem. What about those kids? We say we want 100% success, but we don't choose strategies that are sustainable. And when you go for the quick win, you are doing it for very selfish reasons. You're not doing it to serve the kids. You're doing it in order to get the pressure off your back, in order to be able to show that you're doing something. And it hurts people. It doesn't help them. So one of the hardest things that we have to do as builders is we have to let go of the idea of a quick win. We've got to stop chasing quick wins. Now, I'll tell you the other reason why we do chase quick wins. For one thing, we think it's going to alleviate pressure, but in alleviating pressure, it creates more problems downstream. So when we go for the quick win, we get the temporary boost, but we end up creating more problems. And maybe those problems don't show up for another 6 months. Maybe those problems don't show up for another year or two. And so the quick win makes us feel like we've solved things when all we've really done is kick the can down the road. The other reason we go for the quick win is because doing the work of sustainable growth, doing the work of really solving the problem, it's a slog. I'm just going to be honest with you. It can feel like a slog because you have to trade short-term gratification for long-term solutions. And so in the middle of trying to create that long-term solution, it doesn't feel good. A lot of times it feels like things are moving too slowly, that it's not working, because we're so accustomed to a quick win that we feel like, okay, if we don't see a lift right away, this thing must not be working. But the truth is that a lot of things take time. Things that are really important, things that are really sustainable, things that are really going to solve the problem at the root level take time. I mean, your school took 10 years to turn toxic. Your school took 15 years to really get to the point where you are failing kids. Do you honestly think that you're going to turn things around and start seeing success in 6 weeks, in 2 weeks, in a month, in 2 months of a brand new program? There's so much that you have to untangle. There's so much that you have to deal with and dig beneath in order to get to the root cause. Do you really think that some program that you bought because you went to a conference is going to help you unearth all of the toxicity and the dysfunction that contributed to where your school is in a matter of weeks? The problem is that we don't know how to be patient. We think that if we don't have some sort of instantaneous gratification, then it's not working. And then we abandon what we're doing and we try something else. It's one of the reasons why we find ourselves lurching from one initiative to the next over and over and over again, because we don't take the time to do the work it takes to really solve problems. All we do is we try to put band-aids on problems. We try to kick problems down the road. We try to delay problems. We try to hide problems. We try to mitigate problems. We don't focus on solving problems. And see, here's the difference. People love quick wins. I mean, look, who wouldn't, right? It's that instant gratification. But if you really want to reach 100% success, a quick win is not going to do it. 100% success, a vision that big, is going to take sustained effort. And the problem is that most people give up before the sustained effort has a chance to work. And so the challenge that builders face is we have to unlearn what we were taught as leaders. As leaders, we're taught we have to show instant growth right away, add water and stir. But as builders, we're not looking for that because we know that instant growth is a setup. Instead, we're looking for sustained success. And the problem is that most people will never, ever experience that kind of sustained success, not because they don't have the right strategy, but because they don't do it long enough. Here's what I mean by that. A lot of times when you first become a builder, you get really excited. The 100% vision is sexy, right? Like it's exciting, it's inspiring. And then the next step is you've created that 100% vision, you're excited about it. And then the next step is that you now have to share it with other people. And what we do in Buildership University is we teach you a process called the vision story. And the vision story allows you to share your vision with people in a way that after hearing it, they begin to take ownership of that vision. It stops being your vision and it starts being our vision. And it's a really powerful tool to get people on board with your vision, right? So people get excited, we've just got the vision. Now we're going to do the vision story, and they go all out and they share the vision story. And then they come back to me and they say, oh, I share my vision story, but it didn't work. And I said, well, what do you mean it didn't work? Well, did you do it like we teach you? It's a very specific framework we use. Yeah, I used all the pieces of the framework, and I take a look at them like, yeah, it's there. Okay. All right. Okay. How many times did you share the vision story? Well, I shared it once at my faculty meeting, and teachers had a lot of questions, and I got a lot of pushback, so it didn't work. And then I just start laughing. Yeah, because why would you think that after years of dysfunction, your one vision story shared one time at a faculty meeting wouldn't be faced with some pushback? Teachers may have never heard somebody say 100% before, and they may be hearing 100%, but they have to hear it through all of the years of dysfunction that they've experienced in that school prior to that. Why do you think one time is going to change it? I mean, the vision story is magical, but it's not supernatural. It's not going to do that in one time. And so then I tell them, well, you've got to get to the point where you're sharing the vision story 10 times a day. You shared it once in the last week. No wonder it's not working. You shouldn't give up on the story because you shared it once. You haven't you haven't put in the work and the time it takes to make that vision take hold. You think that one conversation is going to change things? Well, if you really think that, then you're in danger, because you could have that vision story conversation with them today, and then tomorrow somebody else could come and have a counter conversation with them, and then they sway that way. Do you really think that one conversation is going to do it? No. People don't believe you the first time. Often they think that, oh, here's just another thing. It's not until you do it consistently. It's not until you begin aligning everything in your school to that vision story, including, by the way, how you look at data, including, by the way, how you give teachers feedback. Everything in your school begins to align, that they begin to believe it and they begin to own it. Hey, Robyn here, and I just want to break in real quick to ask you a huge favor. You see, I want to get the word out to everybody about Buildership, and I could use your help. If you're really enjoying this episode, would you mind just going to your podcast platform and leaving a quick review? You see, the reviews get the word out. They tell other people this is a great show. Other people who have never heard of School Leadership Reimagined before can hear about it, and you'd be sharing the word about Buildership. So would you mind just leaving a quick review? It would mean the world to me. Okay, now back to the show. So people come all the time looking for quick fixes. We do several free events every single year. And when we do those free events, people get so excited. They're like, oh my goodness, this is great. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do the other. And they grab the strategy and try to go out and do it right away. And then because we teach sustainable strategies in Buildership University and we're not teaching quick fixes, people grab one of our sustainable strategies, treat it like a quick fix, do it once, and then say, oh, it doesn't work. And then they're off to the next thing. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just not going to work instantaneously. It's almost like the adult educator version of the marshmallow test. Most people, when you put a strategy in front of them and you say, okay, work this strategy, and if you work it long enough, you will see gains. Most people can't work it long enough. They give up too soon. And it's not that the strategy doesn't work. It's that the strategy is not designed to be a quick fix. The strategy is designed to sustain the school long term. And they give up before they see results. And they're on to the next thing. And when they do that, Not only are they shortchanging the people they serve, not only are they cheating themselves of the opportunity to get really good at something, not only are they setting themselves up for more pain down the road because you never solved the problem, you just covered it up and you kicked it down the road, and it's going to show up, but it's going to be bigger and worse when you do have to encounter it again. Not only do you stay treading water because you go up and then you go down, you go up and you go down, and then you're looking for the next quick win. Not only does it keep you crazy because you're always looking for the next thing. So you're always running after the next thing. You're looking for the coolest, shiny object that you can implement. And so every single year you're recreating the wheel over and over and over again instead of doing something that's sustained. But you create cynicism. You create cynicism in your staff where they don't believe anything you say because they know they can just wait you out because you're not going to stick to anything. And you create an internal turmoil because you're working really, really hard, but you can never sustain the results. And so that's why when people first join Buildership University, a lot of our work is unlearning that nonsense. People get committed to buildership because they have the hope that maybe this can be better. 100%. I want that for my kids. But when they come into Buildership University, they quickly realize that in order to get to 100%, you got to leave all that leadership nonsense that we were taught behind, and you've got to think differently. Builders think differently. And one of the hardest things to give up is the idea of the quick win. When you join Buildership University and start the work of becoming a builder, we're working on sustained success. And sometimes that can feel boring. It doesn't feel like it's moving fast enough. People are like, I want to get to the sexy part. I want to do my teacher dashboard. I want to do these other things. And we're like, yeah, we'll get there. But we're building a foundation that makes those other things work. You know, we do our free events and we expose you to a lot of tools because we think they can be really helpful to you. They can help you do your work more effectively, more efficiently, to see bigger results from that work. And all of that is true. But if you try to just grab those strategies and tack them on to everything else you're doing, it'll create more work for you. Maybe you'll get a lift, maybe you won't. But you're not going to see the sustained results these tools were designed to give you because you're not sticking with them long enough. They work. Buildership works. But you can't be a builder and a leader at the same time. You can't chase quick wins and build sustained success. You can't, grab at something and then abandon it 2 months later and expect that the results to last. The first year of being a builder is about establishing new systems. The second year of being a builder is about executing on those things and making them work, giving the systems time to work. And not until the third year do you do minor adjustments to make them work better. It's not that they don't work, but they're not going to work the way you need them to work in 3 weeks. They're not going to work the way you need them to work if you abandon them when they get hard. Because that's the other thing that happens. People start out and they're gung-ho and they're like, okay, I got the system in place. And then now what's next? And I'll say, what's next is work the system. Okay, I'm working that system, but what's next? No. There is no next. This is next. Work the system. Oh, but I have it in place. What else do I need to do? Nothing. And that's so hard for people to adjust to because they're used to just more. No, we're going to do this thing. Okay, but I'm already doing that. Yes. Now do more of it. We don't do that. We don't ever figure out what's working, take time to do that work and make it work. So here's the process that builders use. We don't just see something cool and like, oh, great, I'm going to do that. Cool, 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 great. And then run off to the next thing. Instead, we take time first to understand, what do we need? What is the one thing that we need to be doing right now that makes all the difference? We're looking for leverage. We're looking for points of high leverage. We're not just looking for, cool strategies or something that's going to scratch an itch right now. We're looking at understanding the underlying problem and figuring out, how do we solve that problem once and for all so we never have to deal with it again. That's the one thing we're going to be doing right now. Once you have the one thing, you start working the one thing. You don't just do it blindly. You don't just say, okay, let's put that on the background. Let's go and do something else. You're actively working on it because you're getting feedback from your work. You're seeing what parts do work and what parts don't. And you're addressing the parts that don't. We have a whole system we show you for how to do that. So you're reviewing it. We just finished a quarterly review inside of Buildership University, and it took us 2 days. So it's not just like, okay, what are our goals for this quarter? No, we're looking for one thing. And then we're sitting and we're analyzing. We have a whole assessment that you go through so that you can really analyze the school and what you're doing to figure out what's the one thing that you should be working on right now that makes all the difference. And then once you understand that, you start doing it, you start collecting feedback, you start refining it, you get better at it, you start seeing bigger results from it, and you keep improving on the one thing. You don't say, oh, this is working pretty good. It's, get me 70% of the way there. Now let me go find something else. Nope. There's 30% left that's still there. There's still juice in that lemon. Squeeze. So we show you how to just keep doing the one thing so you get good at it. You start to see the results you want from it. You're not running back and forth chasing shiny objects. You're just sticking with that one thing. And often that's the hard part, because people get bored, because things aren't moving as quickly as we're used to things to be moving. We're always stressed out, and people are not stressed out anymore. It's calm. And so they're like, well, wait, I'm feeling too calm. I need to go do something else. Or maybe if I'm feeling too calm, it means I'm not working hard enough, because we have this, we've turned working hard into a badge of honor, rather than understanding that sometimes your hard work is more about gratifying your own ego than it is about producing results. So people start to panic because things are getting too calm, and you're looking at refinements instead of starting something new. And we feel like, well, I have to be always doing something new. And so people panic, and then they go out and they sabotage what's working because they're looking for the next quick win. They're looking for the next new shiny object instead of sticking with what's working until they get unparalleled results. And so what builders do is we figure out what the root cause is, and we figure out what the one thing is that we should be doing. Then we do it and get feedback from doing it, and then improve and keep improving until we've maximized it. And then here's the most unsexy part of all. We keep doing it. We keep doing it. And we keep doing it. And if you can resist the urge to chase the quick wins and stick with it, you will see results you've never seen before. Why? Because you're doing work you've never been disciplined enough to do before. We call a lot of the things that we're doing in Buildership University disciplines. Feedback is not something you do, it's a discipline. Support is a discipline. Accountability is a discipline. Culture is a discipline. They're not shots in the arm, they're disciplines. You keep creating the systems and the architectures around those 4 things, the 4 disciplines of buildership: feedback, support, accountability, and culture. You create those architectures around it, and so that you continually do it, and you keep getting better and better at it. And the better you get at it, the better your staff becomes. And the better your staff becomes, the more your kids succeed, and the closer and closer you get to your vision. So when I tell people it's going to take 3 to 5 years for your school to achieve your vision, a lot of people say, what? 3 to 5 years? And I always laugh at that, because what do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to get to 100% in 1 year? No. you're going to make a lot of gains in 1 year. Don't get me wrong. Builders typically see a 10 to 50% lift in their scores. We have the range. Some people are about 10%. Other people see a 50%, 60% lift in their score range, but you will see a lift and it will feel good that first year. And a lot of people are like, oh, that's great. I've outpaced everybody in my district. But if you rest on your laurels, you're going to stay stuck there. You have to keep going. And so to get to 100%, 3 years, making progress the entire time, but 3 years minimum. And people are like, oh, that's too long. I'm like, 3 years from now will happen whether you do buildership or not. So what are you doing on your own? And all these quick wins, are they going to get you to 100% 3 years from now? Are they going to get you to 100% 1 year from now? No. Buildership will, but you got to stick with it. And so when you do, you're seeing progress every single year, but you're putting systems and architectures in place that are sustainable. So you're not reinventing the wheel, but it only happens if you stick with it. So you have a choice. You can keep chasing those quick wins and riding the waves of the quick wins where you see highs and then you see, once you stop, you take your eye off of it, they go back down and then it's on to the next one over and over again. And you can continue to wear yourself out, but not having sustained growth and progress. Or you can invest in doing the right work, sticking with it, riding out the boredom, resisting the siren's call and the temptation to chase a quick win. Invest in sustained wins like a builder. Now, if you want to really learn how to do that, we're doing a 5-day event coming up on October 22nd. And over the course of the 5 days, we're going to be meeting every evening for 1 hour, and I'm going to show you some simple shifts you can make to create those sustained wins and to help you get off of the crack of quick wins and actually create sustained wins over time. If you're interested in that, then just go to buildershipuniversity.com/reset and sign up. I'll talk to you next time. Hey, if you're ready to get started being a builder right away, then I want to invite you to join us at Buildership University. It's our exclusive online community for builders just like you, where you'll be able to get the exact training that you need to turn your school into a success story right now with the people and resources you already have. Inside, you'll find our best online courses, live trainings with me, tons of resources, templates, and exemplars, and monthly live office hours with me where you can ask me anything and get my help on whatever challenge you're facing right now. If you're tired of hitting obstacle after obstacle and you're sick of tiny little incremental gains each year, if you're ready to make a dramatic difference in your school right now, then you need to join Buildership University. Just go to buildershipuniversity.com and get started writing your school success story today. Hey, real quick before you go, if you enjoyed today's episode and you know someone who would really benefit from what you heard here today, maybe they're struggling with the thing that we talked about in today's episode, would you take a moment and share this episode with them? You see, not only will it help us get the word about buildership out to more people, but you're going to look like a rock star because you're going to give people something they can really use to help them get unstuck and be better at building their schools. Plus, it would mean the world to me. Thanks so much, and I'll see you next time.